A fun week 2 battle between the rookie quarterback C.J. Stroud and Anthony Richardson as Indianapolis travels down to Houston for the AFC South divisional rival matchup here. This matchup will probably be potentially could sway who is going to pick sooner in the upcoming draft. But that being said, though, I do still like these matchups because I feel like there's a lot of because obviously the players want to win and obviously the GMs want to win as well. But then there's I feel like there's, especially for the Texans GM in the front office, to be no, we were right in selecting our guy. We had we had the option, and we gave you the worst of the two players. So I like that, just a little extra dynamic, especially in the first time that they meet. But this is going to be a fun matchup here. Both teams, the Colts had an exciting game against the Jags where they fell up just short. And the Texans game,
exciting game, actually.
Surprisingly exciting, actually. I agree with you there. While the Texans game, just kind of boring. It was kind of the exact game I feel like we all kind of thought the Ravens would just dominate the game. Texans not really be able to do too much, even though Stroud's stats were pretty good. I think he threw for about 200 something yards here. I'll pull that up. But Ryan,
242 yards. He was 28 of 44 for 242 yards.
Okay, that's pretty good amount of pass attempts there. So, but coming in this game, what are your overall expectations for both these quarterbacks here?
Well, so for the quarterbacks, I think we're going to see a little bit more of the same from Anthony Richardson. From C.J. Stroud, he has a much more natural passing ability than Anthony Richardson. Mm-hmm. And not that Anthony Richardson is a bad passer. It's just, we saw it at the combine in Indianapolis. It was just C.J. Stroud would go, then Anthony Richardson would go. And C.J. Stroud looked like he'd been working on his mechanics for years and years, whereas Anthony Richardson looked like an athlete playing quarterback. And so for me, I think the Colts, they're going to develop that or continue to develop their running style with Anthony Richardson there. And then C.J. Stroud should continue to build on his throwing ability and kind of what we saw in week 1 when in Baltimore. So it's going to be interesting. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of give my prediction out. I think the Colts are going to win. I think the Colts have the much better defense in this matchup. And we actually saw them give Trevor Lawrence a few fits last week. And Trevor Lawrence is going into his 3rd year in the NFL. He won a playoff game last year and is showing to be turning into a true franchise quarterback. And C.J. Stroud is making his 2nd NFL start. So there's a big difference in caliber of quarterback there. And I'm very curious to see what the Colts are going to do to confuse C.J. Stroud. Whereas, and I don't, on the flip side of that, DeMeco Ryans' defense is very young. I think that they did a decent job last week, but they didn't really throw anything at Baltimore that they couldn't really handle.
Yeah. So, I think that's the thing. So when I come to the two quarterbacks right now, I think C.J. Stroud has the more polished NFL talent as of right now. While Richardson, when it comes to throwing, I'm talking purely about QB mechanics, everything like that, working in the pocket. I think C.J. Stroud has that ability right now, with Richardson. But where I think Richardson surpasses him is just in winning games right now. Potential is just with the way that the system is set up in Indianapolis. The way Shane Steichen likes to utilize his quarterbacks and how much of a freak athlete Richardson is. We were seeing Richardson just bowl over guys, and he's going to be running the ball a lot. And so he can rely on his legs a lot more to win games, which is just going to cause even just some of the best defenses to struggle a little bit at a time, opening things up more in the passing game for simpler passes. Long term, we'll have to see how he develops because I think C.J. Stroud can develop and surpass him and be one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Yeah. Right now in this matchup, I think he just fits really well in this offense because he's just much more dynamic. Yeah. And I think you hit the nail on the head as well. Is the Colts, I think, are just a better overall team, especially on the defensive side of the ball as well. So that's where I am going to be leaning towards Indianapolis also. I think they just have a little bit more polished weapons, both offensively and defensively. Also, too, they didn't really have too many major injuries here for the Colts. Richardson did get a little stinger towards the end, but I think that was precautionary for him not coming back in. They're down 2 starters with a minute left. The Texans, on the other hand, though, I have a couple of concerns about. The offensive line seems to be getting banged up. George Font hurt his shoulder, so that's something to monitor throughout the entire week if he'll be able to play. And also, too, Jalen Petrie was taken to the hospital for a bruised lung, so that's their starting safety. So that does not sound fun.
No, it sounds extremely painful.
Broken ribs seems like the second worst injury. The first one is what everyone in the football world is going to be talking about here for this next week with Aaron Rodgers. But the broken ribs just sounds awful. I remember, I think it was like the Falcons were playing the Packers in the NFC Championship when they went to the Super Bowl, and Jordy Nelson broke his ribs like in the divisional game the week before, and they were talking about how painful that is. It's like every breath, just knives like going into your chest. Just sounds awful. So I hope he's completely okay, but at the same time, I mean that's going to be something I think that they're definitely want to monitor. And have him come back on. So that'll be something to watch. Also weakening that defense that is so young and rebuilding.
Yeah. So that to me is just going to be the biggest difference in this game. I think the Colts, they're the better team right now. Also, too, offensive line wise, I think they're much more stronger, much stronger and more physical than the Houston Texans defensive line. So
they're not stronger; they're more stronger. They're not just stronger. Yeah.
Much more strong is what I was trying to say. But yeah, so we're both going with the Colts. Let's go ahead and wrap up this video here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on who you think is going to win this game, the Indianapolis Colts or the Houston Texans. Let us know down below. And other than that, we will see you guys next time.